Hello everyone, you're watching Mirror TV and welcome to the fourth reaction video. This one might be a little different because all other reaction videos are kind of like the funny videos, like trying out the laugh challenges and everything like that. This one is actually a video where I would want to react to. I also want to get my thoughts on the certain videos. Like I saw these videos and I was like, I'm going to put on watch later. And then like just now I was watching it up to it's a top 10 list. Like I can do reaction videos on the top 10 reasons or like just a top 10 list and everything. And then I figured as I was at the beginning of the video at the time, I only saw the 10th I only saw like the first reason, okay, the 10th number 10. As I progressed through the video, I stopped the video. I was like, you know what? Before I continue, why not react to it? Because this is my raw view of this video. I promise you that. Not entirely the case with the very first part. It's only the first. It's only the number 10 that I only saw. Everything else, I did not watch. And I figured, you know what? I'm gonna react to this, and let's do it. Anyway, this is Top 10 reasons not to move to New York. The whole state of New York, not just NYC. Now, for those of you who know me for a long time, I do live in New York, unfortunately. I live in the metropolitan area. I'm not going to tell where. I mean, live in the one of the five boroughs, aka Staten Island. Staten Island resident. The New York City Big Apple, we call it here, and it's a really beautiful city. There are some misconceptions about not just for the city but the whole state too, and maybe, just maybe, this video would explain. It's not to give in people's skins or anything. It's just like I guess people are just entitled to their opinions with some facts. I guess that's why they call it proven. But anyway, enough with me rambling. It's already been 2.5 minutes and we're not even watching the video. Let's just get on with this, and I hope you guys enjoy this reaction video. So let's do it.
What is going on, everyone? Who wants to hear about New York State? Did you know New York is a state as well as a city? I know 99.9% of you just went, yeah, no kidding, but I actually know a girl who's 24 that she really thought it was its own place. She thought New York City was kind of like Washington, D.C. It was its own entity or its own location. But then again, she also thinks Paul McCartney wouldn't have a career without Kanye West. So that kind of tells you what I'm dealing with. I sometimes worry she's going to have kids. I really do. Anyway, New York is a state in the northeastern part of the country. Here it is. It's right up there towards the top. It carries the lofty nickname of the Empire State, and New York was one of the original 13 colonies that formed the United States. With an estimated 19.85 million residents in 2017, it is the fourth most populous state and 27th in total area. New York State was admitted into the Union July 26, 1788, and is the 11th state. After 100 or so years of people moving to New York, the last decade or so has seen a slowdown in that migration. In the last several years, they've seen a shift and now are losing more people than they gain. They are currently the third most moved out of state in the United States. Now, that doesn't mean people aren't still moving there. It's a great state with great opportunities and great people. You could be one of them. But before you move to the Empire State, maybe you should watch my top 10 reasons not to move to New York.
Okay, let's see. This guy knows what he's talking about, actually. Okay.
Number 10, rude people. New York has always had the stereotype of having very rude residents. A majority of this you will find in the cities, but you'd also find it throughout the state, too. Now, to most people this does seem rude, but really it's just they have a very direct way of interacting with each other. Outsiders do see this as abrasive, and it takes a while to get used to. Just be prepared.
Okay, what he's trying to say was that New York people can be real jackasses or real nasty people. I guess in this mindset, it's just that I guess all people are kind of like rude people, and maybe that is the case. But you also gotta notice that not all people are rude. Not all people are nasty people. There are some really nice people in New York. I guess the only thing was that it's New York is very liberal. It's a very, very liberal state. Very diverse, especially right here in New York City. Rich people too. Maybe that explains why the rudeness. Again, I'm not trying to piss people off. It's just I'm just reacting to the video, and this is what my point is. Let's go. Now this is where I never
Number
watch.
9. Accents. New Yorkers have some of the deepest, thickest accents in the States. This accent also feeds into the stereotypes of them being rude. New York speakers have some unique conversational styles. Linguistic professor Deborah Tanner noted in a New York Times article that New Yorkers stand closer, talk louder, and leave shorter pauses between exchanges. Most of the country sees this as rude. New Yorkers just see it as the way they communicate.
Okay. Wow, look at the way how they
Number 8. The garbage plate. Now, this one isn't as much a reason not to move to the state as me letting you know what the hell someone's talking about if you hear this and you're near Rochester. The garbage plate is not what you think. This is food. And no, not discarded food like the name implies. This is actually something people enjoy. It refers very specifically to a prepared entree consisting primarily of the following: hot dogs without buns, hamburgers without buns, steak, pork chops, sausage, ham, fish, or eggs,
That looks
and
good.
processed potatoes and processed beans. They just throw all this stuff on a plate for you and serve it to you and expect you to pay for it. Now, what's really strange about this is like a good thing for people from upstate New York, really. I don't get it. I had one once and I was not impressed, but people love it. Now, other places do sell it, but they can't use the name garbage plate because the original place, that's kind of their thing. Other places have other names for it, but it's the same idea.
I don't really get it either. I guess you can only ask
Number
people
7,
about the-
crime rate. In New York, the
Oh,
crime
yeah.
rate is very high. It always has been. Most of this obviously being from the major cities, but they still have a solid amount throughout the state. The United States as a whole has seen a 5% decrease in overall crime rate. However, New York has experienced a 4% overall increase. That's not a good sign.
Okay, the only way I can explain why this is happening is, especially in New York City, is that it's very, very overpopulated. It consists of, believe it or not, 8 million people, not just from Manhattan, but the whole 5 boroughs of New York City. I'm talking about the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, even Staten Island, and especially Brooklyn. Brooklyn has to be like the largest borough with the metropolitan area. Not the metropolitan area, but the 5 boroughs. It's so overpopulated, and that explains the crime rate. There's one side is the nice people and the very well people, and there's one side where there's crime people, where they commit crimes, and they tend to do crazy things, let alone they do some incident things, which is not good at all. That explains the security and the police. That explains the decrease of the crime rate. But New York, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just there's a lot of people in New York City, especially Manhattan. So you're gonna expect a lot of crimes within like once every hour or something like that.
Number 6, snow. New York doesn't just get snow, it gets dumped on. In fact, data shows Rochester's the snowiest city in the entire country. They average about 100 inches a year. It's a lot of snow. Now, that is much higher than, let's say, Manhattan, which only saw about 26 inches in 2017. But still, that makes for a very, very cold winter. Rough to get around. Look into each area before you buy a house and check the snowfall totals. And keep in mind, when you're closer to water, the lakes especially, you're gonna get more snow.
Right. Real quick. It is true that we do get a lot of snow, which is why we call blizzards. However, I have to disagree on this one thing. It's not Rochester that gets more snow in the whole state. It's actually Syracuse. Syracuse actually is one of the snowiest cities, not alone in the state, but a whole country. A whole country has actually, Rochester, yeah, they do get dumped on, and you can kind of see why. They get like 40 inches, maybe once every 40 years. Take a look at 1960s. More snows they do get in the lakes too, because the water energy. However, it's actually Syracuse, not Rochester, that is the snowiest city. Just wanted to correct you right now. And to go back to the point of what you said about people moving out of the state, that is the reason why people move out. It's because of snow. They go down south, especially like the Carolinas, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Arizona, those places, the steaming hot weather. They want to enjoy the hot weather, especially retired people. That kind of explains why people are moving out of New York.
Number 5, New York City. New York City is a great city. Probably the most important city on the planet. It is a great city, and it is a great big city. And like all giant cities, it has its problems. It has such bad stats, it brings the rest of the state down. It's almost like you have two sets of stats for New York. You have New York State stats and New York State stats with New York City. Almost like there's an asterisk in the stat book for it. New York City has high crime stats, bad neighborhoods, high cost of living, housing. Everything is a bad stat for this place. Except opportunity. Plenty of opportunity in New York City. You just got to go out and grab it.
Part of the reason why it's very expensive is because it's such a famous area with so much history. Especially Manhattan. Manhattan is so expensive because the buildings are tall. Let alone you have to live in like a one room, and not only that, you have a really nice view of, I don't know, the whole freaking city. Especially if you have an ability to look at the Statue of Liberty.
Number 4, tourists. New York is filled with tourists. Any time of the year, any time of the day, you can't swing a dead rat without hitting one. Tickets to see the Statue of Liberty need to be bought months in advance. Times Square is like Disneyland on a busy day. Sneaking into Casey Neistat's building is getting crowded. Yeah, actually, Casey Neistat, in case you don't know, is a really big YouTuber, and some dude a couple weeks ago decided to sneak into his building and, waited for him out in front of his office, early morning time. Total dick move. Don't do that. Don't find out where your favorite YouTube star is and try and ambush them to beg for help for your channel. That's like stalking and it makes you look weird. Alright, moving on. If you even are able to get to the top of the Empire State Building, it will be shoulder to shoulder crowded. 3.5 million people visit the Empire State Building every single year. And Casey Neistat is not one of them, so don't even try there.
Part of the reason why this tourist is because it's very diverse. It's such a
Number
famous
3,
spot.
traffic. New York City is the third most congested city in the world, not just in the United States, in the world. New Yorkers spend an average of 91 hours in traffic a year. That's 5 hours shy of spending 4 days of the year in traffic. Now, like so many other stats, New York City is a major factor in this one, and I get it. Stop typing. But the other cities, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, they get it pretty bad too. Traffic just sucks in New York State in general. Let's get out to the farmland.
Again, it is an overpopulated area, which explains the people, the tourists, and the rental cars and everything. You have people moving out, and maybe when we go back to snow, maybe that could be the big part of the issue here. The traffic too, the weather impact, but for the most parts, again, it's we have a lot of people. That's why that could explains one of the highest, one of the longest traffic jams in all the entire world. Number 2,
cost of living. The cost of living in New York is 25% higher than the national average, which means you would have to make $125,000 to have the same standard of living someone in Colorado does on $65,000, or someone in Mississippi making minimum wage. Again, the city brings down this stat a lot, but most of this state is well above the national average. It costs a lot to live in New York. It costs crazy amounts to live in New York City.
again, liberals, the people, and a lot of opportunities too. In New York City, it is a big place, and a very expensive place to live in. Which means if it's a very expensive place to live in, you could also get paid higher if you have a good job. So that's why it's very expensive, especially in New York City. Now we get to number one. Let's see, what's number one?
And number one, taxes. Taxes in New York are nuts.
Oh.
As if the cost of living wasn't killing your bank account already, you have some of the highest taxes in the country to finish it off. Now, there's a lot of ins and outs, and taxes are very complicated, but I'm going to very much broad stroke this one for you, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at. The effective income tax rate in New York is above 5% for an individual and above 6% for a couple. New York allows localities to impose their own income tax, and the average there is about 2% more. The average state and local sales tax is 8.4%. Gas taxes and fees are 44 cents per gallon. Now, it varies by county, but that's about the average. Property taxes are the 10th highest in the U.S. The state tax on cigarettes is $4.35 per pack, the highest in the U.S. And New York City actually tax on another $1.50 on top of that. That's crazy. Why anyone would want to live here with these taxes and cost of living is beyond me. Now, if you make tons and tons of money, yeah, then by all means, it's probably the greatest place to be. But if you don't make that kind of money, you probably want to look elsewhere. And I get we need taxes, but come on, this state's out of control. I thought California was bad. Alright, so that's the top 10 reasons not to move to New York. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit all those buttons down below. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.
Okay, yeah, I can't argue with that. Our taxes is very, very out of control, especially in New York City. Yeah, I can't really argue there. California, especially in the Beverly Hills, taxes are out of control, and it's not just for New York City. Like you mentioned, the whole state is well, actually, there are some places in the state itself with high taxes as well. You know, Westchester County, Rockland County, maybe around the Buffalo region as well. For the most part, yeah, our taxes is very high. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I do have some buddies who are struggling with money. The bank kind of screwed them and everything. It's stupid. It's ridiculous, and I agree with you with number one. Taxes has to be done something about it if you want to make this place good for you. All right, I hope you enjoy this reaction video. Maybe the whole point of this is because I want to get something out there, and well, this is my home state, and I kind of want to see the negativities, and I want to kind of want to comment and try to either defend it or agree with it. Yeah, hope you enjoy this. This is Mirror TV, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.